How did you rise up against a bully? My older brother Elijah was literally the perfect kid. Straight A's, captain of the football team, student vice president, the works. Everyone at school loved him. Teachers would stop me in the halls just to tell me how lucky I was to have such an amazing brother. I was proud of him, too. We weren't super close or anything, but he always had my back when I needed it. After graduation, Elijah enlisted in the army. Said he wanted to serve his country before college. 3 months into basic training, we got the call. Training accident. My brother was gone. The whole school was devastated. They held a memorial service in the gym, put up a plaque by the main office. For weeks, teachers and students would come up to me with this sad look and say how sorry they were. I appreciated it, but I just wanted to get through each day without thinking about it. That's when Jace started. Jace wasn't your typical bully. He didn't shove kids into lockers or steal lunch money. He was worse than that. He was smart about it. Psychological. He'd wait until teachers weren't around, then slide up next to me with this fake, concerned voice. Hey Cameron, didn't your brother die tripping over a rock or something? He'd say just loud enough for other kids to hear. When I'd tell him to shut up, he'd put his hands up like he was innocent. Washington, just asking, guess bravery doesn't run in the family, huh? The worst part was how he did it. Always with this smirk like it was just friendly conversation. Other kids would laugh nervously or look away. Teachers never caught on because he was careful about timing. It went on for weeks, little comments here and there. Your brother would be so disappointed in how weak you are. Good thing he can't see what a loser his little brother turned out to be. Each one felt like a punch to the gut, but I didn't know how to make it stop. Then one day, my friend Tyler showed me something on his phone. Dude, you need to see this. It was an Instagram account with my brother's name and picture, but the posts were all wrong. Memes making fun of soldiers, pictures of Elijah with clown makeup photoshopped on. One post said, "Miss me yet?" with crying, laughing emojis. I felt sick. This wasn't just bullying anymore. This was pure evil. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Elijah and how he would have handled this. He was always the type to think before acting. So I made a plan. I created a fake account and messaged the Elijah page pretending to be a fan of the memes. I wrote stuff like, "Bro, these are hilarious. How do you come up with this stuff?" Jace took the bait immediately. He started bragging about how easy it was to mess with people. Then I asked him directly, "Wait, is this based on a real person?" His response was screenshot gold. "Yeah, some dead army boy from my school. His brother is such a crybaby about it. Don't feel bad though, kid. Probably would have died in actual combat anyway. LOL, I had everything I needed." The next morning, I went straight to the principal's office with the screenshots, showed them the fake account, the messages, everything. They said they'd handle it and investigate. I thought that would be the end of it. 2 weeks later, nothing had happened. Jace was still posting, still making comments. The school had done absolutely nothing, so I decided to handle it myself. I spent the next 3 days putting together a memorial video for Elijah. I used clips from his football games, pictures from yearbook, quotes from his teachers. It was actually really beautiful. I ended it with his graduation speech about serving others and making a difference. Then, right at the end, I added a title card. Some people don't deserve to be remembered. Here's someone who doesn't respect those who do. I included every screenshot of Jace's messages, every cruel post from the fake account, his real name, everything. I uploaded it to YouTube with a simple caption. My brother Elijah died serving his country. This is what Jace thinks about that. I didn't expect it to blow up. I just wanted people to see who Jace really was. By the next morning, the video had been shared all over social media. Students, parents, even some of Elijah's army buddies had seen it. The fake Instagram account was deleted. Jace didn't come to school that day or the next day. When he finally came back a week later, everything was different. Nobody would sit with him at lunch. Kids would move away when he walked down the hall. His friends had ditched him completely. Teachers looked at him like he was garbage. I didn't feel happy about it. I didn't feel victorious. My older brother Elijah was the kind of person people talked about with a glow in their eyes. He was the golden boy, straight A's, captain of the football team, student vice president. Teachers would light up just saying his name. "Oh, you're Elijah's brother," they'd say to me in the hallway like I'd just walked out of a shadow he cast. I didn't mind. I was proud of him, too. We weren't the closest. There was a 3-year age gap and completely different lives, but he always had my back. When I got beat up in 6th grade, it was Elijah who marched into the principal's office, demanding to know what they were doing about it. After high school, instead of heading straight to college like everyone expected, Elijah enlisted in the army. He said he wanted to serve first, said it felt like the right thing to do. 3 months into basic training, we got the call. It was a training accident. Elijah didn't make it. The world collapsed. My parents didn't speak for a week. The school held a memorial in the gym. The student council put up a plaque outside the main office with Elijah's picture. The quote from his graduation speech: "Live for others. Serve where you can. Be more than just a name." People cried. Teachers hugged me in the hallways. Random students left notes in my locker. But grief doesn't work like a movie montage. The pain stayed. I just wanted to get through my days quietly, to stop seeing my brother's face in every corner of the school. And that's when Jace started. Jace was never the shove you into a locker kind of bully. He was worse, smart, subtle, psychological warfare disguised as sarcasm. He'd wait until a teacher walked away and lean in with that smug smirk. "Hey, Cameron," he whispered one day in chemistry, "didn't your brother die tripping over a rock or something?" I stared at him, frozen, my hands balled into fists under the desk, but I didn't say anything. "Oh, don't be so sensitive," he added with a fake laugh. It was a joke. It didn't stop there. In the cafeteria, between classes, walking past me in the hallway, guess bravery doesn't run in the family. Your brother would be so ashamed if he saw you now. Dead hero, living loser. Balance, I guess. Other kids would hear, laugh nervously, look away. No one spoke up. Teachers didn't see it. Jace knew exactly how to hide it under the radar. I bottled it all, buried it deep. Elijah wouldn't want me to punch this guy. He'd want me to be better, smarter, but each day it got harder to keep it in. Then one day, Tyler, my best friend, came up to me after school. "Dude," he said, shoving his phone into my hand, "you need to see this." It was an Instagram account. The name? Elijah_who. The profile picture was my brother's high school yearbook photo, but someone had drawn clown makeup on it. The posts, all memes mocking dead soldiers. One had Elijah's photo next to a dog wearing sunglasses, captioned, "Should have just stayed a good boy." Another post, a photo of Elijah in uniform, captioned, "Miss me yet?" Followed by crying laughing emojis. I couldn't breathe. I scrolled through post after post, bile rising in my throat. And then I saw the latest comment under one of them. "His brother still cries like a baby at school. LOL. That night, I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, shaking. Elijah would never let someone get away with this. But he also wouldn't throw a punch. He'd outsmart them. So I made a plan. I created a fake Instagram account. Used some random profile photo, no real name. I messaged the Elijah_who account. "Dude, these are hilarious." I typed, "How do you come up with this stuff?" The reply came back fast. "LOL, thanks. Honestly, it's easy. The kid's such a loser. His brother died in training or something. Barely made it 3 months. Probably would have died in combat anyway. No big loss." I screenshot every word. Then I asked, "Wait, is this about a real person?" His answer, "Yup, some dead army boy from my school. His brother's such a crybaby about it." That was it. That was the proof. The next morning, I walked straight into the principal's office with my phone and the screenshots. I showed everything. The posts, the messages, the confession. I was shaking with anger and anxiety, but I kept it together. The principal promised they'd investigate and take action. 2 weeks passed. Nothing. Jay still walked the halls like nothing happened. Still made his snide comments. Still posted. It was like the school had done nothing at all. Like my grief didn't matter. Like Elijah didn't matter. So I did something else. I made a video. It took 3 days. I poured every ounce of love and pain and pride into it. I dubbed through old yearbooks, pulled videos of Elijah scoring touchdowns, clips of his speech at graduation, quotes from his letters home. I added somber music, put in photos of his flag-draped casket, a photo of the plaque the school hung in his memory. And then, right at the end, I added a black screen with bold white text. Some people don't deserve to be remembered. This is someone who doesn't respect those who do. Then came the screenshots. Every post, every message, Jace's name, his handle, his face. I uploaded the video to YouTube. Titled it, "My Brother Died a Hero." This is what a coward looks like. I didn't expect it to go viral. I just wanted people to know, to see the truth. But by the next morning, the views were in the thousands. Parents were sharing it on Facebook. Classmates were posting it on Instagram. Some of Elijah's army friends found it and left comments. "He was a good man. I served with Elijah. This is disgusting. That bully doesn't deserve to walk the same halls." Jace didn't come to school the next day. Or the next. When he finally did show up, everything had changed. Kids turned their backs. His friends had abandoned him. Teachers watched him with quiet disgust. He tried to laugh it off like he always did, but the smirk was gone. And me? I didn't feel victorious. I just felt like my brother had finally been defended, not with fists, but with truth. Story 2. Surprise, you're covering my $48,000 venue as a wedding gift. My sister said at Christmas dinner later, I accidentally overheard my dad whisper, "Do not worry. We'll make your brother pay." I just whispered, "Copy that," opened my laptop and pulled my full transaction history. 48 gifts, 3 loan repayments, 8 dinners, all paid by me. I sent her an invoice titled, "Congratulations." Her fiancé called a week later. "Is this real?" On Monday, the venue tagged canceled. On Thursday, they got a black envelope. It was supposed to be just a dinner, just ham, wine, lights, and the usual family tension under garland, the kind that makes your jaw clench while you pass the mashed potatoes. What I didn't expect was a financial ambush and wrapping paper. My sister, glowing like a Pinterest board with too much exposure, stood up after the third toast and clinked at her glass. "I just wanted to thank everyone for being here," she said, already crying. "And especially my brother." She turned to me. Dramatic pause for covering the venue. $48,000, the best wedding gift ever. I laughed out loud. I thought it was a joke. I genuinely believed I was part of a new family bit, the annual holiday roast, now with PowerPoint, except no one else laughed. They were all smiling like they'd rehearsed it. My mom dabbed her eyes. My uncle nodded sagely like I'd just paid off his student loans too. "Excuse me," I said, still holding a fork full of dry turkey. My sister grinned. "You said you wanted to do something meaningful. And this is, monumental." Her fiancé raised his glass to generosity. I stared at the table. The linen was monogrammed, not initials, full names, gold thread. The menu cards had a bronze foil frame. The place cards were mini LED screens scrolling thank you messages, and next to mine a tiny white badge that read +1 finance department. Later that night, as I put on my coat, I heard my dad whisper behind the kitchen door, "Do not worry, we'll make your brother pay." I stood in the hallway for a full minute, staring at the wreath like it had answers. Then I whispered back, "Copy that," went home, opened my laptop, pulled up 3 years of transaction history like it was a confession. 48 gifts, 3 loan repayments, 8 family dinners, all paid by me. I renamed the spreadsheet "Congratulations," attached it to an invoice, sent it to her personal email. The subject line read, "Here comes the bill, I wasn't generous." I was the fallback plan. That's the part no one likes to say out loud, that I wasn't helping out of love. I was helping because I was scared of what would happen if I didn't. Scared of the mess they'd make, scared of the phone calls. Scared of Katie calling me crying at 11:43 p.m. because they just don't understand. She always started her calls like that. They just don't understand. And I'd already be logging into my bank app. It started small. Rent $1,200 per month in LA because you don't know how competitive it is here. She said it like she was on the edge of winning a Pulitzer for Instagram captions. Her apartment had a ring light mounted above the stove and a balcony with a better view than my office. I paid quietly like it was part of some subscription I'd forgotten to cancel. She thought mom and dad were helping. That was the funny part. She once posted a selfie in front of a new standing desk and tagged mom. Thanks for always supporting me. I didn't say anything. Just like the post, and transferred another $1,200. Then came tuition, $6,042 per semester, and it wasn't even for anything useful. It was for film school. Documentary focus, she said, as if that explained the sudden spike in my credit card bill from when she bought a $900 camera stabilizer and wrote it off as educational expense. I paid for groceries. I paid for her car, a 2009 Honda Civic that smelled like expired perfume, and desperation for $1,800. Beige, still alive, still ungrateful. And the parents, they were sneakier. They never asked directly, they just built scaffolding around the ask. Mom, the roof's still leaking. Dad, we're fine, just had to cancel cable and put off the dentist again. Translation, we need you. I wired $2,000 a month to a joint account for essentials. Turns out essentials included to streaming platforms, weekly DoorDash orders, and I'm not kidding, an imported candle subscription. They didn't even try to hide it. One day, I visited unannounced and saw a $280 silk throw blanket draped across a chair like a trophy. It's therapeutic, Mom said. No one ever said thank you, not once. Instead, I got lines like, "Well, you're single. You don't have kids, that's why it's easier for you." Easier for me because I didn't have a wedding registry and a sob story, but I did have numbers. I had a spreadsheet called Family Investments that I updated monthly. It wasn't a budget, it was a list of every transaction that kept them afloat. When Katie got engaged, I gave her $2,000 as a start. She cried, said I was the only solid person in her life. I believed her until Christmas, until she stood up next to the tree and announced like it was a TED Talk that I was covering her wedding venue. $48,000, such a meaningful gift. Everyone clapped. I stared at my glass of wine like it might explain things. Later that night, I heard Dad in the kitchen whisper, "Don't worry, we'll make your brother pay," and something in me just snapped. Quietly, like a light bulb giving out at midnight, I opened my laptop. I pulled the spreadsheet. For 8 gifts, 3 loan repayments, 8 dinners, everything documented, every cent. I renamed the file "Congratulations." I sent it to her fiancé, attached a PDF invoice. No message, just numbers. A week later, I got a call. "Is this real?" he asked. I said, "It's math." On Monday, the venue posted, "Event canceled." And on Thursday, they got a black envelope, no return address, no signature. Inside, one printed sentence, "You confused silence for consent and me for a fool." They didn't respond to the invoice right away. That was the first sign. No, what is this? No, are you serious? Not even a typo complaint. Just silence, like they were regrouping. Like they'd been hit and were waiting for the bleeding to stop. I knew what was coming: guilt, gaslight, group chat pity posts. I was ready for that. What I wasn't ready for was the Instagram post. 3 days after the invoice hit their inbox, Katie posted a black and white photo of her and her fiancé hugging on a hilltop. The caption, Sometimes the people you count on the most are the ones who break you, but love is louder. We're moving forward no matter what. The comment section, a firestorm of heart emojis and "you're so strong," and just like that, I was cast. Not as the brother who paid for her education, rent, car, therapy, dinners, and now a wedding venue. No, I was the villain with a spreadsheet. I scrolled one comment from someone named at Jules Heartbeats. Cut off toxic family, you don't owe them anything, especially if they try to control you with money. Katie liked it. That was the moment I went quiet. Not out of shock, out of calculation. That weekend, the venue tagged canceled on their event calendar. No announcement, no explanation, just that one word. Monday morning, I got a text from an unknown number. We need to talk urgently. It's about the deposit. It was from her fiancé. I ignored it. Then Tuesday, I got a call from the venue itself. Apparently, they hadn't just assumed I'd pay. They'd actually submitted my credit card information without consent, without authorization, without a single conversation. Katie used my card information without authorization. They'd already processed the deposit weeks ago. That's when the ground shifted. It wasn't just betrayal anymore, it was fraud. I hung up the phone and stared at the wall for a full minute. Then I opened the bank app. $8,700, already paid, already gone. No one had even told me. They were going to let me find out after the wedding. The second text from the fiancé came 2 hours later. Please don't press charges, she panicked. We didn't think it would process. She was going to tell you that line. She was going to tell you. I laughed. Actually laughed out loud. Then I replied with one line. Forward this to your lawyer. That night I called the bank and flagged the charge. Then I called a friend, a lawyer, and told him everything. He didn't even let me finish before saying, I'll handle it. But it didn't end there. Wednesday, my phone pinged a new calendar invite. Title, Family Dinner, Reconnect, sent by mom, our SVP requested. I didn't respond, but I did show up. I wanted to see their faces. I walked in exactly at 7 p.m. They were all already seated. Mom, Dad, Katie, the fiancé, table set, chicken, wine, flickering candles like it was a peace treaty in a Pottery Barn catalog. No one stood up. No one smiled. Katie just said, we need to talk about the way you're acting. Not what we did, not what we stole, but my behavior. I sat down, didn't touch the food. Mom started first. This has gone too far. Dad added, we're family. Katie, she stared me down like I was a threat to national security. I made a mistake, she said, but so did you. Then she pulled out something, a printed contract, a fake one. An agreement that said I'd agreed to pay the full venue cost. Signed by me, except I never signed anything. Not in person, not over email, not even verbally. I picked up the paper, stared at it, then smiled. Because the signature wasn't mine, it was the old version of my signature, the one I stopped using 3 years ago when I changed banks after a phishing attack. She'd copied it from a birthday check. And that's when it hit me. She'd done this before. I stared at the fake contract. She had printed it on thick paper, that soft, creamy kind people use for weddings or delusions. My name was right there beneath the promise to joyfully contribute to the marital union of Catherine and Dean, joyfully, except the signature wasn't mine, not the one I'd used in years. Where did you get this? I asked, not looking up. Katie blinked. You signed it. No, I said, I didn't. That's my signature from before I closed my Chase account. 2019, silence. Mom put down her fork like it weighed something. Dad shifted in his chair. Dean cleared his throat. She just thought she forged it. I said, and submitted a stolen credit card to a venue under my name. That's not a misunderstanding. That's a serious legal matter. Katie stood up. You're blowing this out of proportion. You committed unauthorized financial use over duck. I said, forgive me if I'm not clapping, Her face twisted like she couldn't decide whether to cry or perform for an imaginary camera. Then Mom chimed in. Let's just talk this through as a family. I turned to her. You knew, she flinched. I can tell you all did. That's why you didn't react when she announced it at Christmas. That's why no one blinked. You'd planned it. Dad's mouth opened, closed. Katie reached for the contract. I didn't let go. No, I said, you want me involved? Here I am. Then I pulled my bag up from the floor and took out a folder. Not just any folder, the one labeled Family Debt Recovery Initiative. I laid out pages, copies of every wire transfer, every tuition payment, Venmo screenshots, bank statements, Zelle receipts, even the photo she posted kissing the Honda Civic. Then the envelope, black, unmarked, I slid it across the table to Dean. What's this? He asked. Your reality, I said. Inside was a breakdown. Not just of the stolen $8,700 of everything. Total balance due $134,248.31. No interest, no fees, just facts. Katie snatched it from his hands. This is insane. No. I said insane is trying to stage a wedding with stolen money and calling it love. She was shaking now, not from fear, from exposure. Mom tried again. We can fix this. You already did, I said. You fixed it around me. You sat down as a group and decided my bank account was the venue and you toasted to that. I stood. Dean looked pale. He opened his mouth like he might apologize. Don't. I said. You're not the problem. You're just the intern who followed orders. He looked like he wanted to disappear. I left the contract on the table, picked up my folder, buttoned my coat, and right before I walked out, I said, you wanted me out of the wedding? Consider it done. Now try planning it without serious legal matter charges. As I reached the door, Katie called after me. You're doing this for control. I turned back once. No, I'm doing this because you all thought I wouldn't. Then I walked out down the stairs into the night. My phone buzzed before I reached the car. A new email, subject line, regarding venue cancellation and refund policy. I smiled, closed the phone, and let them sit in it. Let them all sit in the silence they thought I'd never use. It took them for days to realize I wasn't bluffing. The first email came from Mom. Subject, let's talk, nobody text. Just the subject line and a read receipt. The second was from Katie. I overreacted. We all did. Let's reset. And the third, the most honest, came from Dean. It said, how bad is this legally? That one I answered. I replied with a copy of California's Penal Code for credit card unauthorized financial use and a screenshot of the flag venue charge. No greeting, no sign off. Then I went quiet again because I'd realized something. They weren't afraid of losing me. They were afraid of losing access to me. So I started cutting access first to the bank. I shut down the joint emergency account I'd been funding since 2020. No warning, just gone. Within 2 hours, I got a text from Dad. Card declined at pharmacy. Everything. Okay, I didn't answer. Then I made 3 phone calls. One to Katie's college revoking the recurring tuition payment I'd still been covering for her second post-grad certificate program. One to the insurance company pulling myself as the responsible party on Mom's dental plan. And one to Lorenzo's DMV registration, turning the vehicle back in my name. I was nuclear, but I wasn't noisy. They thought I'd scream. Instead, I filed, then I planned an event. Not a dinner, not a party, not a confrontation, a picnic. I sent out invites to the whole family, even the cousins I hadn't seen in years, the ones who usually only showed up. To weddings and funerals. Subject line, spring renewal, let's reconnect. Location, a quiet park near the lake. Free food, live music, casual dress. The bait was obvious. They still came. I rented for folding tables and labeled them. Budgeting basics, resume review, job openings by zip code, how to apply for a loan. Legally, I printed packets, binders, brought snacks, even made little take-home folders with people's names. Katie arrived last wearing sunglasses and a frown. She walked straight up to me and hissed, "What tea is this?" I handed her a folder with her name. Inside, a copy of her forged contract, the formal complaint draft, and an application for a grant for small business owners. She flipped through it like it might self-destruct. "You're insane," she whispered. "No," I said. "I'm done." Then Dean approached, holding his own folder. His had a resume template and a note at the bottom. "Your wedding was never the plan, just the symptom." He sat down at the job openings table and didn't say a word. Katie stormed off after 15 minutes. Dean stayed. He filled out a job interest form. Under previous experience, he wrote, barrister, freelance videography, crisis management, pending. I watched from a distance. Mom didn't come, but she sent a message through Aunt Rhonda. "This is humiliating. Why are you doing this?" I didn't respond. I handed Rhonda her folder. Inside, a breakdown of the $2,700 I'd loaned her son after his failed crypto stunt. Just until Dogecoin bounces back. He'd said it didn't, then came the twist. 2 days later, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost ignored it. It was someone from the bank's fraud department. Apparently, this wasn't the first unauthorized charge using my card. There had been others smaller, spread out, hidden in event deposits, catering prepays, miscellaneous charges across 3 states. Total $13,490. I felt my pulse slow, not spike. That kind of anger doesn't burn, it freezes. I asked for timestamps, locations, names on the invoices. One name came up I hadn't expected. Mom. Turns out she booked a surprise honeymoon for Katie and Dean 6 months ago. A resort in the Maldives, paid in for separate transactions, all with my backup card on file. The one she had just in case. That's when the scale of it hit me. They weren't just using me. They had turned me into a silent cosigner on a life I wasn't living. Worse, they genuinely believed it was fine. I called the resort, canceled the booking, had them send a refund confirmation to me, not her. Then I filed the official police report, filed it with dates, receipts, emails, texts, signatures, every pixel of their betrayal and legal format. And I added one final detail, that the crime wasn't just fraud. It was use of personal data without consent. Because somewhere along the way, they hadn't just stolen my money. They'd stolen the version of me who said yes without blinking. That guy was gone. I emailed Katie the report, subject line, "In case you need it for your next documentary." No response until 2 days later when Dean called me. He left her, said he didn't sign up for this. Said he thought it was just a misunderstanding. Said he was moving back to Chicago. I asked him why. He told me. He said, "Because I realized I don't know who she is anymore, but I know exactly who you are, and for the first time, I didn't feel flattered." I felt clean. 3 weeks passed, no texts, no voicemails, just silence. Not the awkward kind, not the passive-aggressive kind. The kind you earn, the kind you deliver with discipline. I didn't check Instagram. I didn't call mutual friends. I didn't Google their updates. I just paused. They wanted life without me, perfect. I gave them silence, not out of punitive pride, but out of relief. Freedom tastes quieter than revenge. Katie, she tried the soft approach first, a 6-paragraph email filled with storm metaphors and growth talk. "I'm sorry for all of this. If we could just erase it, start new. I miss you. You always showed up for me." I didn't reply. That version of me, always showing up, emotionally bankrupt, died with the invoice. He didn't deserve a resurrection. Her next move, a selfie, no ring. Captioned, "Healing is messy, but so is rebirth." For her, it's redemption. For me, it's the cleanup. Last I heard, she posted a GoFund for emotional support resources. I assume she's trying to rebuild a narrative, but one cannot heal shift without accountability. And I didn't give her that. She's rebuilding, but on whose dime? Dean. He left. Probably not because of me, but because he woke up. A postcard arrived 2 days after the picnic folders were torn down. Side A blank. Side B, thanks for showing me what quiet strength looks like. No apology, no excuses, just clarity and distance. That may be the best acknowledgement I got. Better than an apology because you don't apologize to the person who gave. A toxic enabling, you acknowledge then walk away. He left room for grace, not my forgiveness, just peace. Mom played the diplomat, called my office pretending to be Jane from accounting. Message, tell him family is forever. My receptionist replied, that number is no longer in service for unpaid clients. I didn't hear from her again. I suspect she realized maybe too late that I'm not a safety net anymore. Dad never reached out. Not directly, but mutual friends told me he's back in church convinced betrayal looks bad on the soul. Sleepless nights, restless guilt, maybe that's his confession ritual now. Not that it undoes his participation, but maybe it starts something. The Honda Lorenzo, that beige 2009 Civic, the vessel of unspoken expectations, was abandoned at Katie's apartment complex. No renewed registration, no insurance. I sold it for $1,200 cash, my price for reclaiming autonomy. The picnic table set up with good intentions, not spite. Still standing last I heard, one handwritten note stuck to a table leg. Thank you, no signature, no context, maybe a stranger. Who found a career tip relevant? Maybe Dean, maybe someone still waking up to their own life. Even a small ripple matters, the legal score. The final number stands at 134,248.31. Stolen money, unauthorized charges, invalid signature, emotional bandwidth wasted. The financial compliance officer, his name is Felix, smiled when he heard I documented it all. They really thought you'd eat this. I didn't, and they're under official review now. Pending legal review, my next move, I sent a final group email. Subject, you said it's better without me. Prove it, body blank, just the invoice attached again. One line at the bottom. You thought I was a wallet with feelings, now you have both. Then I archived the thread because a quiet exit is louder than an epic speech, because absence speaks when words are exhausted. Final state, me financially, my bank account still exists. Rebounded from cancellation and court flags, emergency fund. Restored emotionally for the first time in years. I breathe without scanning for debt reminders or emotional hostage notes. Mentally, I'm planning a solo trip next month somewhere without service. Maybe the Rockies, maybe Mexico, just space. Final reflection, this was never about money, it was always about boundaries. I kept score not to punish, but to protect myself. They counted on me, they counted me out. I counted with me. I'm standing outside a coffee shop, half-mile from home, watching the steam curl above my latte. The Civic zips past, someone else driving it, maybe a stranger, maybe my old version of myself. But inside me, peace, empty, quiet, and vast. Because I walked away on my own terms, and sometimes the loudest thing you can say is nothing at